Yo, welcome back to another video. Today we are working on this 2002 LS430. We're going to be replacing the rack and pinion in this video because it does have a small leak, but besides that it has major play on both inner tie rods. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So I'm starting out by jacking up the vehicle. Make sure it's supported on jack stands. Go ahead and open the hood. You're going to want to locate your power steering fluid reservoir, take off the cap, and set that aside. Next, you're going to want to evacuate whatever fluid is in the reservoir. I'm using this vacuum pump that I bought off Amazon to extract all the fluid. Once all the fluid is removed from the reservoir, go ahead and set that aside. Remove the front tires. Tires removed. Make sure your steering wheel is in a straight position. Lock it with a steering wheel lock if you have one. But if you don't have one, check out this trick. You can use a seat belt as a steering wheel lock. Once it's in a straight position, go ahead and set the seat belt in this manner. Now I'm outside under the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and remove this undercover. Just a bunch of 10mm screws. Now that I have the cover removed, we have all the access. This next step, we're going to go underneath. Remove the cotter pin for the outer tie rod. I like to unlock it with a screwdriver. You can do it by hand as well. Once it's unlocked, go ahead and remove it. Here's a closer look at the cotter pin design. See, that hook is where it locks. Remove the outer tie rod 17mm nut. Next, remove the steering knuckle bolts. That's one. 2 in total, now removed. Now you can separate the knuckle from the ball joint. Alright, you're gonna lift up on the knuckle assembly, separate it from the ball joint, set it aside. Now this is a good time to inspect and or replace your ball joints. Loosen up the outer tie rod locking nut, 19mm. Oh, that was loose already. Next, we're going to separate the outer tie rod. I can use this OE manufacturer style tool. There's a part number for those interested. But I'd rather use this. I think I got it for like 20 bucks at AutoZone. Well worth it. I'd rather use this than the OE for this application. I'm going to set it like so, and then I'll show you how it works. So go ahead and get your 19mm tool, gun preferably. I like to gun it down till it separates. Voila, easy peasy. Now you can move on to the next step. Make sure you count the turns when removing the tie rod. Go ahead and set that aside. Now we're underneath the vehicle. We got both sides removed. We're going to work on disconnecting everything around the rack and pinion. First, I want to disconnect this electrical connector by the hoses. And stick your hand in there and push down on the tab to remove. Just like so. Make sure you have a catch pan to catch any fluid. Remove power steering line 17mm banjo bolt. I like to wait till most of the fluid is drained. Then I remove the banjo bolt and move the hose aside. You can see the banjo washers on the hose right there. Make sure you don't reuse that. Take it off and get a new one. Now I'm removing the second banjo bolt for the second power steering line. Loose, go ahead and remove that. Put that aside. You can see one washer stayed on the line, another one on the rack. Make sure I discard that. So next I remove this side cover, held on by a clip and one screw. It goes over here on the driver's side above the lower control arm. And the reason that I remove it is to gain access to the intermediate shaft right there. We're going to be removing the lower bolt. So I sprayed the lower bolt with some penetrating oil. Remove the lower bolt with a 12mm wrench. I'm using my mountain wrench for easier access. There I have the lower bolt removed. Set that aside. So once you have the lower bolt removed, I like to get a pry bar, stick it in the gap right there, and I strike it with a small hammer so that I can loosen up the intermediate and sector shafts. You can move it up and down once it's loose, but you still don't have the clearance to separate them completely. You need to remove the 19mm rack and pinion mounting nuts in order to receive the clearance to separate both intermediate and sector shafts. Remove the 19mm mounting nuts. Then with a 10mm you can remove the mounting stud. There goes the stud removed. Remove the other one. And the rack and pinion just falls right out. So I'm using one hand to record, one hand to work. Here we have the rack and pinion removed. Let me see if I can show you what's wrong with it. As I move the inner tie rod in and out, you can see how loose it is. You can hear it as well. You can hear it clunking. The same applies to the other side. Get a little closer. You can hear it clunking right there, and you can see how loose it is. It's time to replace the rack and pinion. Now I could have just replaced the inner tie rod, but it was leaking, so might as well do the whole rack. Plus I got a good deal on a used assembly. Here I got this used rack and pinion that I bought off eBay. It looks the same, it's identical, it's the same one, but just off a newer model. And inspect it for damage. No damage there. Compare it, everything looks the same. And usually I would advise to go with the new rack and pinion, but the new one from the dealer is costing me $1,700. This one's costing me $100, so it's a gamble. Before you install your rack and pinion, you want to make sure it's centered. I have the locking pliers parallel to the rack, and I already have spun the sector shaft to full lock position one way. As you can see, it's locked right there. You want to go the opposite way, and you want to count the turns. That's one turn right there, 2 turns, 3 turns. If I keep going, locks right there. That's half a turn. So total 3.5 turns. Now to find the center, you want to rotate the locking pliers the opposite way. Half the number of turns you took to get to full lock position. So in this case, half of 3.5 would be 1 3/4. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's going to be 1 turn right there. Gotta do another 3/4 to find the center point. So that's about 3/4 right there. Now we're not looking for perfection. We are going to do an alignment afterwards. We just want to get it as close as possible. So next we're going to install the rack and pinion mounting stud, and I do add a little bit of thread lock to the threads. Now at first I only install one of the studs with the rack and pinion just to hold it. I leave this stud off so that it gives me a bit of a free play to move the rack and pinion back and forth so that I can join the intermediate shaft and the sector shaft over on the other end. Now you can join your intermediate and sector shafts. Make sure your steering wheel is in a straight position and go ahead and line it up together, pushing on the rack and pinion and the shaft to line them up. Now as you can see, we join both of the shafts together. And before I install that lower bolt though, I'm going to go on the other end of the rack and pinion, and now we can install the mounting stud. Add a little bit of thread lock to the stud. So I'm using one hand, it's kind of difficult. And I want to install them by hand, make sure that it catches the threads just to prevent stripping the stud. And once you can see that it caught the threads, use my 10mm electric ratchet. I want to tighten the other side. I like to finish tightening it with the ratchet. I use the same torque that I used to remove it. Next you want to go ahead and tighten down that 19mm rack and pinion mounting nut. Now this is the intermediate shaft lower locking bolt. I do like to add a little bit of thread lock to the threads before I install it. Go ahead and install it by hand. Make sure it catches the threads before you tighten it up. Then you can go ahead and tighten it with the 12mm wrench. So here we have our power steering line union banjo bolts. As you can see, they're a little bit different intake and out ports. One is for the pressure feed line, one for the return line. Don't mix them up. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a loose washer and install it on the banjo bolt with a hollow opening. The other washer goes on the other side of the line. Now what I like to do is install the banjo bolt first with the washer, and then get the other washer and install it on the other end of the line. And this is the line we're working on, is the one with the electrical connector. Now we want to go ahead and install our line and tighten up the banjo bolt by hand. Make sure those washers are there. Then you can finish it off with the wrench. Now we can install our next line. We can put on the washers on the line. This one is like a 2-in-1. Go ahead and set it on like that. Then you can get your banjo bolt. And go ahead and install it on the line. And thread on the banjo bolt with the line onto the rack and pinion. Start it off by hand. Finish it off with the wrench. Okay, next we want to go ahead and plug up that electrical connector that goes on the rack and pinion. Make sure it clicks into place. You're good to go. Okay, so now we're back outside. Gonna install new outer tie rods. You're gonna install it with the same number of turns you used to remove it. Repeat the process on the other side, then you could install it. Once you install that, go ahead and grab your steering knuckle and line it up to those dowel guides. Help line it up. There's one right there, another one back there. Next you want to grab your steering knuckle bolts and install them by hand. It's important that you catch the threads first before you use a gun or a ratchet to tighten up, prevent stripping them. And go ahead and tighten them up. Tighten up your outer tie rod casting nut. Then install your cotter pin. It's important that if the cotter pin doesn't line up, that you tighten it until it does line up. Never loosen the castle nut to get the cotter pin to line up. Next you want to install this plastic side cover. There's one clip and one plastic nut. Alright, now I'm installing the steering knuckle. Show how you do it. Lift it up. Line it up to the dowel guides. I need to maneuver a little bit, but it sits right into place. Makes it really helpful with those dowel guides. Now here's a closer look on the bottom. Once it's flush, you get to install your bolts. Install your steering knuckle bolts by hand. Make sure they catch the threads. Finish it off with the gun. Also tighten your outer tie rod castle nut. Make sure you install a new cotter pin. Just like that. Go ahead and fill the system with new power steering fluid. Now with the vehicle off, I like to turn the steering wheel all the way to the left and all the way to the right, just to kind of get the fluid circulating before I turn the vehicle on. I like to do it a few times. Now we're going to go ahead and start up the vehicle.
By the way, gave up a lead-off double.
Damn, Dodgers gave up a lead-off double. Now with the vehicle running, I'm going to turn the steering wheel all the way to the left and all the way to the right. If you want to inspect your power steering fluid, if it's foamy and bubbly like this, you got air. So add new fluid, turn on your vehicle, and to remove the air or bleed the system, just turn your steering wheel all the way to the right and all the way to the left. Be careful not to hold it on a locking position too long because you can damage your power steering pump. Repeat the process several times until you have no more air in the system and your fluid is at a good level. Okay, next you want to go underneath and clean any oil residue that might have been left over. And always double check your work. Make sure there's no power steering leak from the repair. Common spots would be the connections right there at the rack and pinion and the line. You can see it's pretty clean. No leaks right there. And if you look at the other hose connection, there's no leaks right there either. So we're good to go. Don't forget to put on your bottom cover and install your wheels. Lower it down. Don't forget to torque the tires. Okay, getting ready to go on a road test. Make sure you double check your wear. Steering wheel already feels much better. Doesn't feel loose like before. And when you do a road test, you want to make sure that everything's tight. No abnormal noises when you're driving. And that your steering wheel is pretty much as close as it could be to a straight position. This one, you can see it's pretty good. I'm still gonna go align it, but I don't think it's gonna be that off. Oh yeah, already feels much better. Smooth like a Lexus. Okay, so I just got back from a road test. Everything went well. No noises, no leaks. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below if you got any questions. I still got to go take it to go get aligned. So deuces.